Hello everyone and welcome to this video, Some Frontier video. My name is Jay Wakefield and I have something rather special for you guys. Now this is a machine that I've actually had for about a year, but I've only just now got around to making a video of it. Now I have used this machine quite a lot over the year though, so I can actually give you some intelligent information about it, even though I've forgotten how much RAM it has. We're just going to guess it's 512. So it has 512 megs of RAM. And with me here is Luke Miller, LMAL3, who has not one, but two N600Cs.
Yeah, I happen to have two of them because buying two is cheaper than buying one. Don't ask me how that works.
And then there's Billy, who's pretty much soon going to be joining the Pentium 3 Compaq Club.
Mm-hmm. Yep, as of about 30 minutes ago, maybe 45 minutes ago, I purchased at a very, very reasonable price a Pentium 3 Compaq Desk Pro EM.
A machine that all of you who are watching this video know to be good because you've seen my video of it. Right, getting on.
By the way, guys, if you're wondering why I look like such derp, I'm really, really sick right now with some kind of a cold or virus.
Yeah, Billy's got a bit of a cold, so yeah, we'll go easy on him.
Yeah, thanks, Obama.
And because Billy's got a cold, what I've done here is I've undertaken to put the fire on, so it'll be warm. So I'll feel.
Usually when I get sick, I get Packard Bells, but I guess this time I'll be getting a Compaq instead.
See, I remember one day I was really quite physically ill, and I got a Packard Bell. Now I can't mind which one I got. I think there's I think when I was emotionally ill with my depression, I got the EasyNote 3612C. When I was physically ill one night, I got myself I was delivered the Packard Bell EasyNote F5281. Unfortunately, you guys will not get to see either of these machines because I no longer have them. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to this Compaq Desk Pro. Mine is slightly different to Luke's. Luke's has the ATI Radeon. No, it's ATI Rage M6, whereas mine's has got the M4. This is an 866 MHz Pentium 3, whereas Luke's is a 1.2 GHz. Very nice. And this one does have wireless. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at it, shall we? Ugh, rubber feet are definitely still on. So what we have here is an Ethernet port, two USB ports, a vent, two PCMCIA. Oh, sorry, no, that's a hard disk caddy. And next to it we have two PCMCIA card slots, both of which are populated by blanks. Type 2, R1 Type 3, also card bus compatible. On the front we have infrared, volume down, volume up, headphone, microphone. On the right hand side we have a Kensington lock slot and a DVD-ROM CD-RW combi drive, which is obviously in a multi-bay, so you can actually switch it out. You can get a floppy drive for these, or you can get a zip drive, I believe, but I've not seen the zip drives. If you can, you probably get all sorts of other goodies, batteries, hard disks, and maybe even a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy December.
Yeah, happy December. Happy Advent, everyone.
And if you have a problem with us saying Happy Holidays, then, well, you know.
Merry Christmas if you got a problem with that. Happy Holidays if you've got a problem with that. Happy Hey I Heard You Like to Shut Up.
Yes, there you go. There you go.
Sorry, I nicked that from, was it Alda Blasi?
No, it's from Angry Video Game Man.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Rolf. I'll, don't have any money.
Well,
So.
by the way, guys, I do have to say that being sick, the strange dreams I've had during this were quite interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, you do have...
This afternoon I dreamed about a blue screen of death. I don't know what it was, but...
A blue screen of death. So, anyway, on the rear we have the power DCN, PS2 mouse keyboard port, IEEE 1284 parallel port, docking station connector, VGA, DB9 serial, and a composite out port, which is good for capturing and showing footage from this machine. Now, this machine has, well, what I plan to do with this machine is format it so, you know, you guys have an idea how we roll with this computer, how we get Windows installed on it. What I'm going to do is I'm installing Windows 98, Windows 2000 dual boot. A Cronus OS selector has been pre-installed on its own partition by me. So let's switch it on. This has got a working CMOS battery. So let's have a look. Compaq Evo N600C, Pentium 3M, 866 megahertz. 256 megs of RAM, I was wrong. And I believe an 80 gig hard drive, so
quick update on the Desk Pro EN. I just bought a Creative Sound Blaster 128 for it for just $6.
nice. Let's just hope the DVD drive you've got, let's just hope the CD drive in it works so you can switch it out with the DVD drive in one of your other machines.
Yep, I got one of my Legend 1510 Supreme that would be much more appropriate in a Desk Pro EN with a Packard Bell.
Exactly. Okay. So everything is just about there. So, what is the plan? Well, the plan is to partition the hard disk, so let's do that. And that's my washing machine finished, and it is an 80 gig drive. Got 74.5 gigs. So 74 minus 74 divided by 2 is actually 37. But so what we want is we're going to have a 37.3 gig partition and a 37.2 gig partition, because it'll only let me work to one decimal place on this thing. Thanks. So the 37.3 partition is going to be Windows 2000 formatted. I forget, this has actually got a trackpad. I don't have to use a track point. But it's there if I need to. That is something about this machine. It does have both a track point and a trackpad. And there's multimedia keys. And the keyboard has actually lost the more traditional grey, light grey colour that Armadas and Conturas of the past had. And it's kind of went for a black colour instead. And that's pretty much how it's been ever since, you know. And then obviously Compaq completely messed it up when they made the Evo N600C. Alright, away you go. That's pretty much how it's been ever since. Now, gonna change label. And then for the Windows 98 partition. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of show Windows 98, you know, in the drivers installed. There we go. Now I've made the D drive and C drive both primary. And what I hope to achieve with that is the fact that I will be able to the fact that I'll actually be able to install Windows 98 to the D drive, even though it's not at the beginning of the drive. That way, Windows 2000 will install to the C drive. Both operating systems will think they're on drive C when they boot up, but they won't be damaged in any way. Acronis OS selector is on its own partition, so in case I need to reformat one of the partitions, it's absolutely fine. Now it's asking what operating system resides on the NTFS partition. Windows 2000 will. If I try and start it just now, it just won't start. Just say NTLDR is missing. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the floppy drive for this machine, so I'll be right back. And here is the parallel port floppy drive that you could get for these machines. It's basically just a floppy drive, a regular floppy drive that can be inserted into this bay, just mounted in, you know, connected to a parallel port and mounted in this pretty neat housing. Now, the reason I'm using a floppy drive is because if I boot a floppy disk from OS Selector, it will actually acknowledge my partition tabling and won't start trying to go, oh, well, you can't do that with this because I can lock it, and if you do that, then I'm going to jolly well write to the Daily Mail. Because Windows 98 doesn't like an NTFS partition to be at the beginning of the drive. It refuses to install normally, but by setting the partition, by setting both partitions as primary, it will install, but I've got to do everything from within Acronis OS selector. So for now, here's my very yellow Windows 95 boot disk.
Dang it, ready?
Yeah. Okay, so I want to boot with internal CD-ROM support. Please give me a minute while I can try and... Oh, there it is, Windows 98 CD. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to format the partition first of all.
This is just the most typical J video in the world. Formatting a Compaq computer with Windows 98. Yup.
And here's a cup of tea in my Scotland mug.
The way I'm feeling right now, I could use something else like drink.
Cup of tea, always the best. Moving on.
If I had one.
Alright. Okay, so I formatted the hard disk and I have made the partition. I formatted the partition, made it bootable. Now it's calculating free space. This may take several minutes. Well, go on then. Calculate it. Oh, done it. System transferred.
Oh, I was about to say that. System transfer. I've done this so much.
So, Windows 98. So now I'm going to get my Windows 98 2nd edition CD-ROM.
You know, I just read something kind of funny on Twitter. I hope the rain didn't hurt Cyber Monday sales.
For those of you who don't get the joke, Cyber Monday is basically deals that happen online.
Yeah.
Then again, what if you were me back in a situation where I had no broadband? You had to go to Starbucks.
Let's go to McDonald's, watch a Max Arcade video, and order some stuff.
Yep. But the rain.
Get you a quarter pounder of cheese, and there you go.
I used to get a Big Mac.
They're in McRib, I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm copying the Windows 98 install files to Windows options, cabs. So what I'm going to do now, copy d:/win98 /start.star. So all the install files are now being copied to the hard disk. You know, the usual way. So this is going to take some time, so actually it's nearly done. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I should have just edited this bit out. All the files are now copied. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove the Windows 98 disk and eject the floppy disk. And what I can do is Control-Alt-Delete. Now, if all is well, I should get an entry for MS-DOS 7.1. Oh, there we go. Now we're going to delete this entry once we've finished installing Windows 98. So don't worry about that, because this is a Windows 95 version of DOS 7.1. So, what I want to do, CD Windows /options, and in this part the US keyboard layout will have changed. The keyboard layout will have changed to US because there's no commands here to change it to UK. So if you're looking for the / key, hit the hash key. And I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. So C:/ Windows /options /cabs, that's where I put the setup files. So let's start set up the new. Setup is now going to perform a routine check on your system. To continue, press enter. To quit, setup, press escape. And now it's running scan disk. Scanning system registry and copying files needed for Windows setup. Alright, Windows 98 setup. Yes, this is very typical Jay now. This is this is about as typical as it gets, so let's have a hop of tea. Okay, so now it's saying it has detected a Windows NT file system partition on your hard disk. Files on this partition will not be available when you use Windows 98. For more information, see setup.txt on setup disk 1 or the Windows 98 compact disk. So it's going to let us click continue, and see Windows.000. We don't want that, so just delete that. We want it in C:\Windows. The reason it's done that is because this is a full copy of Windows 98 and there's files in the C:\Windows folder, and that's kind of left it a wee bit nervous. So I'm going to install custom. I'm going to do my usual reckless, let's install everything except internet connection sharing. Let's even install multi-language support, so I can view all the characters on Windows 98. Look at that. This spacebar is a wee bit mushy. Might have to look at replacing the keyboard at some point. Name the computer Evo N610CW98. Keyboard layout British. Regional settings, system locale, English British. Establishing my location, Windows 98 makes it easy to get region-specific news and information. Selecting the correct location establishes the basic settings for receiving this information. Please select your country or region from the list below, because this is the 90s and companies aren't so evil that they track your every single move. They've not found out how. Okay. So I'm going to click cancel because I don't want to create a boot disk. And now we're ready to start copying Windows 98 files. Now, to make this a really J-typical video, I would use this time telling you why why Scotland being independent is a good idea. But frankly, the battery on my phone is running out. These guys have heard it all before. They would just get bored and pissed off. And to be honest, so I'll join you once Windows 98 has installed, and what I will say is this will take quite some time. It's only going quite quickly on this because it's a nice fast machine. So use this time to go make yourself a cup of tea. So as you can see, Windows 98 is installed, but we're a wee bit driverless. Also, a couple of things need to be done. Acronis OS selector needs reactivated because Windows 98 has actually wiped over the master boot record. So I have an Acronis OS selector boot and setup diskette here. What I'm going to do is we're going to insert this into the floppy drive now. We're just going to shut down Windows. Now, the reason this is booting from a parallel port floppy drive is because both the firmware in the laptop and the firmware in the floppy drive is designed to let this happen. Don't try booting from a parallel port floppy drive from your home computer unless the parallel port floppy drive is meant for the computer. Right, so what we need to do is just kind of click next, read the README, accept the terms and conditions. Now, there's a few options: upgrade or repair Acronis OS selector, create upgrade ASP Linux network installation configuration, activate, deactivate, uninstall, restore default display settings. So you can actually set the display settings of Acronis OS selector, and if you set them to a mode that your monitor or graphics card can't handle, you can use this to actually restore the display settings to the default. Run disk administrator or create report. Now we just simply want to activate Acronis OS selector, as in we want the system to boot to that instead of straight to Windows 98. So just going to click activate, I'm going to click next, click proceed to activate Acronis OS selector. Acronis OS selector has been activated successfully. Remember to remove the installation media. Now you should not have lost your Windows 98 install, because what will happen is Acronis OS selector will start up and it will detect the presence of Windows 98 as it has done, and it's added it to the boot menu. Now remember I was saying we're going to delete this MS-DOS 7.1. Well, let's do it now. Press Ctrl S to go to setup. Select MS-DOS 7.1 English. Hit the delete button. This is the only configuration of the operating system. If you delete it, the operating system will be deleted too. Do you wish to delete this configuration and operating system? Yes, we do. Information about this operating system will be deleted. See, red caps, so I've got to shout it. It will be impossible to boot this operating system from Acronis OS selector. Do you wish to delete this operating system? Yes, we do. So, Windows 98 is in the boot menu, as is Windows 98 command prompt, and an entry for Windows 2000, which, as we found out earlier, was not available. Now we just want to boot into Windows 98. So there you have it. Just booting up into it now. And I've actually bound some drivers onto a CD. Not that CD. Oh, brilliant. There we go. Win98 Utilities Compaq Evo N600C. I also keep my mass storage device driver, which lets Windows 98, which lets you use USB flash drives with Windows 98 on this CD. So
must have these days for 98.
Yep, definitely. And it really doesn't take away from the originality of Windows 98 at all, because a lot of flash drivers did come in the early days with drivers for Windows 98. So we'll install that first of all. Literally, all you need to do is, once you've got the driver downloaded, you just install it like any other program. And it literally is just a device driver. What it will do, though, is it will change the icon you see in the system tray if you have a PC card inserted. So, it'll change that to the Windows XP style eject icon.
There's already a tracking number for this probe.
They work fast. Although, my advice to anyone who's shopping on eBay is, if you order something at night, I mean, it's night time over in America, it's about 8 o'clock at night now. My advice is, if you get a tracking number that late at night, it's not because they've went to the post office and shipped it out already, it's literally because they've printed a shipping label online for the machine. That could still take a couple of days to dispatch. Hopefully.
And Luke is coming by UPS.
He's away. So what we're going to do is we'll install some drivers. I'll install those and get back to you. Now, here's something that I did want to talk about. Windows XP drivers. These should work with the Compaq Disc Pro N on Compaq Evo N600C on Windows 2000. If you have the UXGA Plus version with the 1440 by 900 display and the uprated graphics, you'll need to find those graphics drivers separately for Windows 2000, as the ones provided by Compaq do not work with Windows 2000, but the ones for the regular N600C should. Anyway, I'll install these drivers and I'll get back to you. Oh, also a wee side note. The latest iteration of the graphics drivers provided for this machine by Compaq require you to have DirectX 8 installed. Now, I've got a copy of DirectX 9, so I'm installing that. Shouldn't affect much on this machine, but I am actually installing, well, like I said, I'm installing that, and then I'll be able to install the graphics drivers and shouldn't have any issues. Really, you shouldn't have any issues without DirectX 8 or 9, but I just like to kind of do it to be on the safe side. Yeah. One thing I will also say, Theme Park World is a no-go with Windows 98 on these, because you get artifacting and all sorts of oddities, so best stick to Windows 2000 for that, which is what I will be doing. So, this is Windows 98. It's all installed. There's I have my USB driver installed. All the rest of the drivers are installed, including the one for the wireless Ethernet. So now it's basically just a case of installing all the applications, which is what I'm actually working on right now. And what I've found about this machine is it may only be an 866 MHz Pentium 3M, but it is actually a Tualatin core Pentium 3 866 MHz CPU. I didn't actually realise you could get Tualatins clocked at such a slow speed. You know, I thought that it would be clocked at, you know, anything from, you know, I thought Tualatins came in, you know, 1 GHz or above.
I think that was true for desktops. For laptops, I think it's a different story entirely.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you can get Coppermine 1.0s as well.
That's what I have in my 98 though. It's a 733 Coppermine.
Yeah. So, yeah, obviously laptops, you know, would go for a lower clock speed, you know, for power consumption, what have you. Or it could just be due to speed step or something.
Yeah, that's true. Speed stoop.
Speed stoop.
I'll tell the story behind that.
Okay, hang on a minute, let me get to the computer. Okay, so tell the story of speed stoop.
Elmo 3 tells a story.
All right, okay.
to borrow UXW Bill's theme.
Yeah.
All right. I was talking to Jay about my 2 Evo N600Cs I got some time ago.
Aye.
And I had issues getting to the driver page for whatever reason. So, if I remember right, Jay got me the drivers.
I did.
Sent them over, and I stuck them on the machines. And he labeled them because you know how, sometimes I just don't label them at all. It's just esoteric names that have nothing to do with what the driver actually is. It's just how they file it.
Yeah, SP.
Take them all to like audio, video, chipset, and one of them, instead of saying Intel Speed Step, said Intel Speed Stoop.
Yeah, I don't even know what I was thinking with that. I'm just.
It just made me think of stoop. Kids afraid to leave a stoop.
It's quite funny because there's a restaurant that my family always used to go to in Yeadon in West Yorkshire. We always used to go there to celebrate things like birthdays and what have you, and that's called the Stoop. It was a Brewster's chain. It was brewery owned kind of place. You know, got a chain of what have you, and yeah, it was the Stoop. It was really quite a nice wee restaurant actually. I really enjoyed going out there, you know, for meals and what have you. It's quite nice. Yeah, it's we'd go for birthdays and Christmases and what. No, not Christmases, but we'd go for birthdays, and sometimes we'd just kind of go just to go. Be like, yeah, fancy me, like, you know, and a wee walk round Eden Tarn. It's just a nice thing to do. If they'd have made a drive-through, that could have been called the Speed Stoop. So if anyone from Brewster's is listening, don't make a drive-through version. A drive-through restaurant.
America.
Yep. So, talking of Intel Speed Stoop, here it is. It actually happened, and that is on a CD-ROM. So as long as that CD does not get laser rot, it'll be absolutely fine. Or disk rot, rather. And disk rot does happen on CDs, because I've had it happen to me. I've had it happen to me on some really cheap discs. So yeah, that does actually happen. Anyway, I guess I'm gonna wrap this up now. So, Luke, do you have any final comments? Billy went to bed, by the way.
Yeah, guy's kind of sick. He needs to recover.
Yeah, seriously. So I wasn't going to keep him because, you know, the longer he spends in bed, the less of a chance he has to be able to do 25 festive Christmas videos.
Mm-hmm.
No pressure at all, right enough, Billy, but yeah.
Anyway, the Compaq Evo N600C. I got mine like last month, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And
suffice it to
my
say,
experience with Compaqs was not wonderful up to that point, but these Compaqs actually they remind me a lot of the Latitude D630. They have a nice metal shell that feels really, really tough. The keyboards are kind of just like a Dell.
yeah.
And, the screens are great. The audio is great.
See, that's where Compaq have always excelled, is things like the audio. But yeah, I'll give you that. Gone is kind of the really tactile feedback of the keys from the 7750 series of machines.
Mm-hmm. Even my what's this? my 4130. Even the keys on that don't feel that great.
No, they don't. I've got to be honest. They're not the best.
I mean, they work. They're enough to get the job done, but yeah.
I mean, they're not offensively bad, but yeah.
You can kind of feel the keyboard is not completely secure.
Yeah. I have to be honest. I really don't know how we managed with Dell Latitude C series ones, because those keys just feel. I always get the distinct feeling with those keys that I'm away to get my finger caught underneath it, and the keys are going to start flying everywhere.
I guarantee you, my friend, that's happened to my friend Sansui 358 here on YouTube.
Really? What, with a Dell Latitude C series machine?
No, not specifically with that, but I think other keyboards before.
Great stuff. So, you wanting to do any important typing, leave the CPX in its bag, I would say.
But still, the Evo N600C is still a really nice laptop. I mean, it's a lot like, it reminds me so much of the Dell Latitude D630. It has that same sort of rigidness and toughness with that little bit of sort of a cheap feel to it, but not cheap enough that it's
offensive, yeah. Sorry to use really bad terms, right enough, but yeah. I mean, these competed, I would say, directly with the Dell Latitude C610. Because like the C610, they're dual spindle, and I don't know why A6 setup it's taking so long on this, but we'll bear with it. Like the C610, it's dual spindle. Like the C610, you can get a parallel port connector for the floppy drive. 16 meg video, like the C610. Intel top-end Pentium 3 processor. Mine's just got an XGA display, which I must admit I prefer. You see now, Luke's has got the UXGA Plus 1400 by 1050 display, but
that display's ridiculously big. Like,
high res. No, it's
unless you're doing Photoshop, you don't really need that.
You just can't see it.
I can see it, but it does scale pretty okay. A little bit of that.
Hmm.
That only seems useful to me though if you're doing photo work. Other than that, why? Like, you really weren't. This is one thing I've always said about laptops ever since I had my 2009 MacBook Pro is that resolution, not better, but bigger resolution isn't necessarily better, depending on the size of the panel. Like, I had a 1200p screen on a 17-inch panel with that MacBook Pro. That was totally unnecessary.
See, at least I've learned a lesson with the Retina. I mean, the Retina displays, at least everything's still kind of scaled.
Yeah, they scale it up, and it scales fit beautifully.
And this is something that they can't seem to do on Windows.
Yeah, Windows scaling needs to be worked on, but hopefully that'll happen.
Windows 10, yeah. That's something that they could actually...
Maybe not right away with 10, but, eventually.
I mean, this is something that they're going about tablets. I mean, it's like they're saying, it's like the Samsung Galaxy Tab 3. They were saying, it's not got a good enough resolution, it's only 1280 by 800. I'm like, that's fine. You know what? That's absolutely fine. The iPad 2 is 1024 by 768. I mean, okay, compared to its contemporaries, maybe it's not that much, but 1280 by 800 is absolutely fine. But going back to the Evos, you know, with Luke's machine, he's actually got better graphics and more memory. So you've got 32 megs of video RAM in the Evo, do you?
Yeah, but the reason they give you more RAM is for that bigger panel.
Exactly.
That's the reason, because you need that video RAM to run everything at that larger resolution.
Whereas this is only XGA, so you know I'm stuck with 16. But
16 is completely fine for that size of a display, though.
For that size of a display, and even for gaming back in the day, you know, the sort of games that you would play on one of these. You know, let's say you're running Windows 98, which I am. 16 megs of video RAM is absolutely fine. I mean, I reckon I'd be able to play the original Half-Life on this if I wanted to. In fact, I can. I know that I can because you've played it on the Versa.
Oh, yeah.
Probably wasn't the best with 64 megs of...
The only thing about the Versa is it kind of chopped a little bit because I don't have much RAM in there, but I'll fix that.
Yeah. And it's a Celeron, whereas these are, you know, kind of full, you know, Pentium 3 CPUs. But then again, I'm looking forward to seeing the Versa with 128 megs of RAM, seeing how that goes with the Half-Life. I mean, that should be quite a treat. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with the Celerons of that era. But apart from copying files, I mean, we did kind of notice that the, you know, hard disk... Then again, and everything that we've said that is kind of wrong with the Versa could actually be down to the lack of memory. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, the 64 megs with 98, it works, but it seems like it's only good for just basic stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, Windows 98, I mean, don't get me wrong, Windows 98 would work absolutely fine with 64 megs.
Yeah, it works great, but when you start to play a game or something and it jumps.
Aye. I mean, this has got 256 megs of RAM. One of yours has got a gig, actually.
Yeah, that's because I took the stick out of one of them and put it in the other, so... I ended up with two 512 meg sticks in one of them, which I'm really lucky to have gotten those, because those are really expensive. They're on eBay now.
To be honest, I mean, I would never recommend running 98 over anything 512. I mean, you can do it, and there's registry hacks to enable that to happen.
2000 on mine, so...
Windows 2000, that'll go up to... Am I right in thinking that'll go up to 4 gig, the same as XP?
Yeah, somewhere around there, because it's basically...
Obviously, the 4 gig limit actually takes into account video RAM as well, so generally speaking, you'll get 3 to 3.5 gigs.
Yeah, plus, when it's 32-bit, it doesn't use all of the RAM from the OS, it'll use it for I/O as well, so you technically can only get 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, something like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's, and if you're running a 32-bit operating system on an older... Well, okay, machines like this out of the equation. If you're running a 32-bit operating system, something like, you know, Vesta 7, stick with 3 gigs. You know, because, I mean, it's like you'd be spending more on the extra gig that wouldn't be used. But, I mean, if you've got a Core 2 Duo machine, you're running Vista in 7, get the 64-bit version. They usually come in the box. Anyway, with that said, I think I'm going to wrap this up. So I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I hope you will join me for my next video. Please feel free to subscribe, look at my Facebook page, Videos on Frontier, and look at my website as well. The URLs for all of that will follow. But in the meantime, thank you for watching this video. I really don't know why this is still going, but it should be almost done soon. But please join me for my next video. Cheerio, bye.